Hi, welcome to the profile where we tell stories to inspire, motivate, and empower through voices. My name is Christine Nyosenga, and you can always find these conversations on my YouTube at Nyosenga Christine. All you need to do is subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell so you get to know every time I upload a new video. With me today is a student leader and a lot more as he's going to be telling us. You're most welcome to the profile.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Ssembalirwa Enock. I hold very many positions, but I'll only mention one. And I am the outgoing Guild Speaker of Kampala International University. I thank you.
So how do you start this journey as a leader?
Well, my journey, when I was starting it, I started it when I was in my senior 3. I would like to tell a brief history on how I joined student leadership.
Yes.
It was not my passion. It's not what I wanted. But when my friends, the friends that I had by then, sat down, they realized that I can make a good and a perfect leader. So I remember I was at home, but then what they did, they wrote an application letter. They took it to the patron. He was called Mr. Moses Sempa. He was our patron by then. So they took it there. I never knew anything about it. The very day that I came back to school, they reached on to me and they told me that, Enoch, do you know what? You're our head boy. I was like, oh, but I'm not ready for that position. I cannot manage it. It is too big for me. Maybe you would have made for me the mess prefect or any other small position, or the sanitary prefect, but then the head boy. But then for them, what they told me, that you can make a good and perfect leader. So I used to put on boots, I used not to put on them so. So what they did to me, they got for me a good shoe, then a good trouser, and they took me to the patron, they presented me, that this is the one whom we want to become the head boy.
Wow.
What I remember was, I went through the screening and I was shortlisted among the contestants. We were 2 and I went through as the head boy. I served as the head boy for that 1 year, and it's by that time that I understood what leadership is, and then I developed love and passion for it.
Okay.
Well, that's my brief history about how I began my leadership.
So here we have someone who becomes a head boy by not their choice, but by someone inspiring you into it, and then you loved it.
Exactly, because it was not my choice, but then my friends saw capability in me, and they told me that you must become one.
Okay.
We shall campaign, we shall do what, and indeed they did it. They campaigned for me. I went through.
So, okay, let's go back to the role of a speaker. What does a speaker do like in school?
Now, a speaker is like the mouthpiece of the university. Because just as like the country setting is that we have the executive and then we have the parliament. So, the parliament, it is always headed by the speaker. So the role of the speaker is the chair of the Guild Union parliamentary meetings. And he's always tasked to make resolutions from the opinions that are brought onto board by the student leaders. Well, in that capacity, I'm the chair of the Guild Union Parliament, of the Guild Union Parliament, and as well, my duty is to task the Guild President to take the resolutions that we make in our Parliament to the administration. So I'm part of the bridge, or I'm the bridge between the students and the administration. That is the role of the Guild Speaker. So
someone would think that you hold a more position than the Guild President. Is that so?
No, it's not like that. Because now when you hear that the Guild President, it is somehow a big position compared to,
but actually,
to the Guild Speaker.
Now you're doing all the speaking, you're doing all the coordinating. So actually...
Now, I do the speaking in the Guild Union Parliament. But when we resolve, or when we come on to any resolution as the Guild Union Parliament, then what we do next is to present what we have resolved to the Guild President, such that the Guild President can take the same to the University Council and to the management to see whether they are going to be considered or not. Yes.
So, like, if there is a conflict, like in the, you call it a cabinet?
Guild Union Parliament. Yes.
Okay, so if there is such a conflict, is it upon you to solve it, or is it upon the Guild President to solve it?
Now, with leadership, and one of the values that we stand for as leaders, we are problem solvers. And as a leader, you will not always wait for someone to come in to intervene. But the moment you detect that anything it is not right, then it is incumbent upon you as the leader, or upon me as the speaker, to resolve such a matter within a short period of time. Okay. Yes.
What keeps you motivated as a leader?
Well, I have a lot of things that keeps me motivated as a leader. And first and foremost, I would like to talk about consistency and resilience. Most of the times in leadership, we have conflicts, we have issues, but then the question is, how do you manage them? And the way how you manage them and then you win them, it's the way how you can keep motivated, or you can be determined with the urge to serve the people that you serve. Okay. Yes.
Very good. So is there a point in, like, during your term or in your leadership where you had to go against the orders or the rulings of your superiors, maybe to make a decision?
I think in my leadership, I have not gone astray from my superiors. Reason being that we leaders, we must live an exemplary life. So if I go astray, or if I go against the orders of my superiors, then it means that I'm losing the values and the principles that we stand for as leaders. Therefore, I never had any point at the moment where I went against my superiors. But rather what we used to do, whenever we could detect that if there is any problem, if there is something which is not moving on well, what we used to do, we used to sit down and then we resolve the matter within a limited period of time. Yes, but then I never.
Okay.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges you encounter in that office?
Well, in leadership, there are challenges, there are disagreements, there are issues. But then the most problem or the most challenges that I found in my leadership, they were disagreements. We do believe that each and every human being is born with personal interests. And then the challenge, or the most challenge that I faced, there were disagreements among the leaders. That was the biggest challenge that I faced in my leadership. Other issues, I could call them minor issues, which I believe.
Like you find someone wants this and the other one wants that, yes. You don't know how to make them agree.
Sorry?
Like you don't know how to make them agree. That's some of the challenges.
No, for that one, I can do it, and we used to do it. But then still, there are challenges that we used to face that they were tackling me directly and not the people that I used to serve or the leaders that I used to serve with.
What is your biggest or your worst moment as a leader, or the worst scenario that you have ever encountered in leadership?
Well, what I can tell you is that I haven't faced any big issue in my leadership. So I don't have any worst scenario in my leadership.
So far you like everything in leadership?
Exactly.
Everything is moving right for you?
Yes, everything is moving on rightly, because with leadership, we are there to serve, and we are serving the people. Yes.
So how do you balance leadership as being a leader and then on one point you're a leader, another point you're a student, and maybe even have some other work that you have to, you know. How do you handle work, school, and leadership?
You know, there is a saying that time is always created. We all have 24 hours in a day. So it is incumbent upon me to decide on how I'm going to utilize that time. And then to me personally, there is a way how I manage my time, because I find myself that I am able to give my friends enough time to give leadership, enough time to give my books, enough time to give my work, enough time. And I do that by drafting maybe a small timetable. In my life, I have never written down any timetable that on Monday I'm doing this, on Tuesday I'm doing this, but then at least I have it in my mind that at this time, all on this day, I'll be going to work. On this time, on this day, I'll be reading my books. That's the way how I am always able to manage my time. Yes.
What are some of the lessons that you have learned in leadership or in that office?
I have learned a lot of questions, a lot of lessons, sorry, and one of them is conflict management or conflict resolution. Well, just as I told you that one of the challenges that I have faced in leadership is conflicts and disagreements, and I have learned how to overcome such problems. If I may tell you that what are the ways or what are the modes that I have learned on how we can solve such problems, and one of them is sitting on a round table to resolve the matters that are coming all along. That's one of the ways that I have learned that if there is any burning issue, if there is any matter, then it is always responsible for a leader or for any spiritual leader or any leader in his or her capacity to see that that matter or that issue, it is resolved. Because by leaders, we live by examples, we live with integrity, and we are there to serve. Yes.
What advice would you give to someone who is aspiring to be a leader somewhere, either in school or and they are still there?
Well, the advice that I would give to such people, leaders, they are always knowledgeable people, they are always wise people, and there is wisdom in most of the things that they do. So what I would urge them is to educate themselves, first and foremost, and secondly, is to understand the nature of leadership, and then thirdly, to keep pushing or to keep chasing their dream, because there are people who are leaders by calling. So meaning that you must follow that calling in order to go and you serve your people. There are leaders who just found themselves as leaders. And there is a saying that leaders are not born, but they are just created. So that's why I have told you that one of the things that one must do is to educate himself. And by the process of educating himself, that person is learning, is understanding what leadership is. Because learning is not done in one day. Or maybe if you're to follow a little bit of my history, when I started my leadership way back in my senior 3, I have been advancing on two various levels, various platforms. Because I was the magistrate in my senior 5. I was the magistrate grade 1. Because at the school where I was, we had a magistrate. We had the court, or the students' court. So I could sit on that panel and we could adjudicate the issues that could come all along with the people that used to serve. Yes.
Okay. So if today you became the guild president, what would you do different from what is already being done?
Well, I'm a student of Kampala International University. I have seen this leadership and I now understand how it works. I know the challenges that students face. I know the challenges that student leaders face. But then the challenge that we only have is that we have a very big gap between the student leaders and the administration. That's where you find out that at times Leaders may push something and then it is not attended to. Therefore, what I could do as, or maybe if I was the guild president, is to try to narrow that gap, because I believe that the incumbent leader has tried, the incumbent guild president has tried to narrow that that gap. But then I would have what I would do is to narrow it more and more to see that good services can reach onto the students of Kampala International University. Yes.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation here on the Profile.
Much obliged.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and you can always find these conversations on my YouTube at Nyosenga Christine, and also be able to follow me on all my socials at Nyosenga Christine. Until next time, bye-bye.